Hi everybody, welcome to Living Traditions Homestead. My name is Sarah and today I am outside working in the garden. It's a beautiful spring day. It's about 48 degrees, I would say. It is still super windy. Yesterday it was so windy we almost couldn't get any work done outside. It's not quite as windy today, but it's still pretty bad. But you know what? I still need to get work done. If I waited around for the perfect weather and the perfect light and everything like that, I'd never get any work done. So I just need to work through it. Today I'm actually going to be harvesting the roots of my Echinacea plants, and I'll be turning that into medicine for our family. I have 6 plants that are ready to be harvested. They are 2 years old. Echinacea plants are perennial and the roots have the most amount of medicinal properties in it. But it takes a couple years for the root system to be large enough for you to harvest and turn into medicine. Generally you want them to be 2 to 3 years old. Mine are 2 years old. I'm going to be digging all of them up this year because we will be expanding this garden back farther, but I did know that ahead of time. So last year I planted some more Echinacea in a different location, and this year I'll be planting a bunch more for years to come. The weather here has been pretty wet over the past couple of months, so the ground isn't super dry. So I might have some difficulty digging this up today, but I really want to. If I absolutely can get this out of the ground, I'd love to do that and take care of it today. So let's start digging and see if we can get these roots out of the ground. So let me tell you a little about Echinacea. Echinacea is also called purple coneflower, and you've probably seen it either in somebody's garden or maybe even on the side of the road. There's a variety of Echinacea that grows wild here where we're at in the Missouri Ozarks, and actually some of it grows down the street from our house, just on the side of the road in the ditches. The Echinacea that I'm talking about, and the one that I grow in my garden for medicine, is called Echinacea purpurea. There are lots of varieties of Echinacea. In fact, this gardening year, I'll be adding 3 more varieties of Echinacea to our homestead just because it's such a beautiful flower. All of the Echinaceas are medicinal, but purpurea is the one with the most concentrated medicinal properties. Now today I'm harvesting the root system. Like I said before, it has the most concentrated medicinal properties in the roots, but the flowers and the leaves, and probably the stems too, all of them are medicinal. The leaves and the flowers, and you can probably cut up the stems if they're not too hard. You can dry them and keep them in a jar and use them as a tea. Just put some in some boiling water, let it steep there for 10 minutes or so, and then strain it out and have a nice tea. The root system I am going to be using to make a tincture, which is kind of a concentrated form of medicine. Tinctures are generally used by soaking the herb in alcohol, either vodka or a high-proof alcohol like moonshine. There is legal moonshine these days. There's actually Everclear, which is probably close to moonshine. I'm not advocating for illegal making of moonshine, but you know what, it's out there and it's good for making medicine. So what is Echinacea used for? What is it good for? Well, overall, Echinacea is great for your immune system. You can take it to prevent illness. You can take it when you are ill. It's an overall wonderful medicine for illness, common cold, flu, and really anything virus, bacteria related, especially during the winter months. In my opinion, Echinacea should be in everybody's yard, in everybody's herb garden, because it's just so useful. I have 2 buckets of water here, and I'm just going to be using these as different washing stations for the roots before I take them in the house. The first bucket will just be to get a lot of the dirt off, and then hopefully when I put it into the second bucket there won't be as much dirt to come off, so the water will just stay a little bit cleaner and the roots will be cleaner by the end. I'm done digging out all 6 of the plants, and I have a few of the root systems in here already soaking. I'm just gonna jiggle them as much as I can to agitate the water in hopes that I get the big chunks of dirt out of there. I think that one's ready to go in the second bucket. We'll let that soak in there a while. Let's get these into the house. Whenever I do herb videos or foraging videos, I always get questions about where I learn all of this stuff. And so today I want to share with you some of the resources that I have used to learn about medicinal herbs. There is one author that almost everybody who studies herbs would recommend, and that is Rosemary Gladstar. I have one of her books here. I actually have several of her books. Those that I have in the house, I'll put a link to in our Amazon store. She is really easy to learn from. She talks a lot about common herbs and the uses or usefulness of those herbs, so I highly recommend her books. There is one book for sure that I absolutely recommend. It is the Herbal Medicine Maker's Handbook. And if you really want to get serious, if you don't want to just like dabble here and there, if you really want to get serious about learning how different herbs and flowers and those kinds of things can be used in your life and how to use it, how to make your medicine, this is a fantastic book. I absolutely recommend it. So I'll go ahead and make sure that this is in our Amazon shop as well. But I also want to share with you one YouTube channel that I learn a lot from, and that is Rain Country. Heidi from Rain Country, I have learned a ton from. She is like my role model and my YouTube mentor when it comes to learning about how to use herbs and other medicinal plants. She is very knowledgeable and does a lot of YouTube videos on the different herbs and medicinals that you can grow on your own property, in your own garden, and how to use them and how she uses them. She also makes her own vinegars. She makes her own cooking wine. Just a very useful, very helpful YouTube channel. Make sure you go and check her out. Look at her playlist. She has them organized really nicely. Make sure you learn from her as well. So I brought my Echinacea roots in the house and I put them in the sink and used my sprayer and sprayed off all the rest of the dirt and any of the debris, as much as I could anyway. I put it on a towel to let it kind of dry a little bit, and I actually dabbed it with another towel just to try to get off as much moisture as I can. Now it's not that big of a deal if it's still a little bit damp, but you don't want it dripping. It's also going to be easier to cut up if it's not really wet. So first I'm going to get ready to make the Echinacea tincture, and it actually is really pretty easy. I'm going to start off with this root ball, and we're just going to use the kitchen scissors and cut these roots into little pieces, like giving it a haircut. The pieces can be about 1/4 inch in length. And I'm going to drop them onto this platter just so I can see it better, because my counter is actually kind of camouflaged for this kind of a thing. And then I can kind of scoop it up pretty easily before I put it in my jar. This is not an exact science. And if some of the pieces are bigger, it's okay. I enlisted my favorite helper. So now that we have them all chopped up and on here, let's see how much we can get into this quart jar. I'm going to use a wide mouth quart jar, canning jar, in my canning funnel. We're just going to put this in here and see how far this goes. If we have too much, then we'll just dry it. I'm going to be using a 1-to-1 ratio of Echinacea to vodka. Let's see how that did for us. I don't want to smash it down, but I do want it to settle. Okay, so all of those plants generated about maybe 2/3, between a half and 2/3 of a quart jar of the herb. So now I'm going to take the vodka. Now I use cheap vodka, okay? Now's not the time for super expensive gourmet vodka. Just get some cheap vodka. Like I said before, Everclear is fantastic. Really, the higher amount of alcohol that's in here, the better. We talked a little bit about moonshine. I think you can buy that legally these days. But honestly, moonshine is the best if you can get your hands on it. So I'm just gonna fill this up as much as I can, right up to the top of the Echinacea root. Okay. And that is it. We're just gonna cover it. We're gonna keep this in here, in this jar, for 2 weeks. You need to shake it a couple times a day. Keep it out of the sun. Maybe put it in a cupboard, but somewhere that you're gonna remember to shake it every day. After 2 weeks, you need to strain out the herbs from the alcohol. The alcohol is what you're actually going to consume as medicine. If you have a dark jar to keep this in, that is best. It needs to be kept out of the light. If not, just keep it in a cupboard, in a cool place, and this will last almost forever. But before you put this away to soak, make sure that you label it and date it so you know what's in there and when you started it. I encourage you guys to go learn more about Echinacea tincture, including the dosage. I'm not going to give you the dosage. There are lots of references online, on YouTube, books that are in our Amazon store that will help you with learning more about this and other ways that herbs and medicinal plants can help you. I really encourage you to look into it and see if it is for you. So you guys, I hope that you learned something today. I hope I encouraged you and inspired you to learn more about making your own medicine on the homestead. If you enjoyed this video and if you're enjoying our channel right now, is a great time to hit the subscribe button. We would appreciate it. If you know someone else who you think would be interested in this topic, please go ahead and share this video with them. And until next time, thank you so much for stopping by the homestead. Take care and God bless.